Hello again, how's it going? So today it was kind of interesting. I think an email got sent out and the times for like the Easter break for the club was a bit like shifted 1 week forwards. So we had one kid, we actually had 3 adults, which is a bit more than usual, and then 6 in the ladies, so the ladies were about half its normal size. But it was a good session. It felt like especially the adult one, that felt really good. For me teaching it, I felt a lot more confident in my ability to do it and to be more in control of all the situation, and it just felt nice to be able to teach them and to direct the flow of the lesson without feeling too like thinking, am I doing this right or wrong? I just felt like I was doing things fairly well. I think I did alright, and it's just sort of a good feedback that I'm kind of getting better and that I'm learning along the way. So I think something that I've really taken away or learnt today from that is that you as the leader of the class and the lesson, you really are like the source of the energy in the room. You really like kind of have the most control over that, and as a result it's possible for you to manually be aware of that and to increase it up the ante. I felt like I managed to get more of a sense of that and to actually manually lift it up a little bit, which made me feel better overall as well. I think it's still something that I want to try and explore more and get better at doing, but I definitely feel like I'm starting to understand it a bit more now. In relation to that, what I kind of want to focus more on, not next week because it's Easter holidays next week, but the week after and like going forward is very similar, where I just kind of want to get more informal banter type stuff going on, me being more just like fun and conversational, which is obviously a weakness of mine, but you know, one of the big reasons I wanted to do this in the first place is I wanted to start trying to push myself more in that direction, and it's definitely helping me to do that. So I want to kind of go more for that, just get more fun, get me personally get more involved with the students. I need to get better at actively seeking out what their names are and using their names more often a bit as well. Felt like I was lacking a little bit in that today, where I was struggling to actually think what each student's name is and having to just call them you all the time, or so when I'm directing them or telling them what to do. So apart from that, outside of club related stuff, I've started on the way home I sort of tried out this weird trick with audiobooks where you just put it on 2 times speed and you just listen to it that way, and you kind of have to, it's a bit weird at first, it's kind of funny and strange. You have to kind of rely on your brain to be able to cope and catch up with it, or like follow along at the higher speed, and you kind of actually get used to it after a bit. Although this, I'm re-listening to Life Leave, which I think I mentioned, so I've already been through this book before, which is why I wanted to try it with one I'd already listened to before anyway, because it would be naturally easier for me to follow on with it the second time round, because I've already heard it before already. So yeah, I'm not entirely sure if I want to do it with like a fresh brand new book. I guess it depends what sort of book it is, I guess. Yeah, that's quite interesting. I bought with Audible you get credits and stuff every month, and I had 2 left over, so I thought I'd just get some stuff in advance. So I bought these 2 books. One is so it's called Influence, I think, by Dan Lok, and the other one was Think and Grow Rich, which is it seems like some an old book on like wealth and stuff or whatever, but it looks like it's one of those staple classics, so I thought I'd have a look at that as well. Similar to what Psycho-Cybernetics was, which I got a while ago now. That book was like written in the 60s originally, or like 1960 exactly, I think. So it's one of those classics, well reviewed and everything. So I thought I'd see what's in it. Actually, while I was in the junior session, because there was only one student, so I didn't really need to do anything. While I was sitting there, I bought this ebook from a guy called DKU. You might have seen his YouTube stuff before. He's a pretty cool guy from what I've seen. He really seems to really dive deep into like the scientific side of the traditional stuff, like traditional Chinese martial arts, to try and figure out exactly what makes it work. Because obviously, when you view it from a Western perspective, some of the really old, high-level traditional stuff kind of seems a bit weird and like psychic magic and stuff. And it seems like he's really gone to lengths to understand the real science of how it actually works and how to try and explain that to people. So it's like kind of like the ebook is sort of about that, I think. So I'll probably read that in moments like that during the junior class, or just in a time, in some sort of opportunity where I've only really got my phone on me. I've not got like another book I'm reading at the time, like a physical book, or I can't listen to an audiobook. It's good for that sort of thing, I guess. So that'd be quite interesting to read through. And one other random thing is I'm a bit sort of got funny wrists at the moment. Can't really rotate it this way or that way too much. So I can't really do that much forearm stuff, or I can't grip bars, like heavy barbells, too much either in the gym, because that flares it up as well, or that grip. So I can't do too much like barbell, like sort of powerful lifting type stuff, and my lower back's a bit funny as well, so I'm kind of trying out new stuff, experimenting with different exercises, which is quite interesting. Normally an injury would be sort of a debilitating and annoying experience, but I'm trying to make the most of it to sort of branch out and try new stuff, see how it goes, and mess around with other things, take it as a learning opportunity instead. So the topic for this week I wanted to sort of go through, or discuss about is it okay to like teach kids how to actually like fight and physically, just like beat each other up or so. Obviously, I think personally, I feel like it is good and perfectly okay, especially in the more traditional style clubs where it's all focused on like, with kids, a lot of the parents make them go for things like confidence, or a bit of some form of exercise, doing something rather than sitting around all the time, or like respect and discipline, stuff like that. So but I think that personally, that knowing how to fight and being taught how to fight properly, and being violent or being prone to violence are actually quite separate things. Stuff like being violent or being a bully or something, I think it was more likely to just be learned from bad parenting or bad peers in general surrounding that kid. Of course, if you teach that kid to then fight, say if you take them to like boxing class, and they're just going to be hitting stuff, it's that might make them more inclined to be thuggish, perhaps, and to impose that fighting ability on them. But if they are, brought up well and they're a good kid, I don't think it really makes them more prone to want to fight at all. Perhaps even less so, because they know they might have better understanding of the seriousness of potential injuries and stuff, and they also might make them more prone to stand up to bullies at school, which of course will make the bullies less likely to actually want to do it with that particular one or anyone that they might stand up for, because bullies typically tend to, you know, be quite, you know, that they don't target weak, like people who fight back, or like they only target weak people who don't fight back, or ones that when they do try and fight back they can't, and they just sort of get beaten up easily. If you can put up a fight and make it not so easy, even if you do get beaten up, if you make it difficult for them, it probably would still be quite good for stopping them doing it in the future. When it comes to different things, I'm not entirely sure whether or not something more like boxing, which is more sporty, is in my head. From my own upbringing stuff, I associate that with more thuggish people. I think more thuggish people are more drawn towards things like well, boxing more than anything, and then more other traditional style, or even other sporting arts like judo or taekwondo. I like it the more the discipline style. A lot of them originate from a more militaristic style of their art. But boxing, I don't know, I feel like it's more popular with thuggish people, and that might just be because it's on TV, it's a popular sport, and you kind of just, a lot of people that might just want to go there just to hit stuff, to smash things, or to get to fight other people more often. And if they are quite, you know, if they're quite a naturally aggressive person, you know, that aggressive personality, and they know how to translate that into a fight to psychologically dominate someone. So even if their skill is not that great, if they're just really aggressive, and they know, they just sort of hound the person, and they sort of win that psychological fight and make them get on the back foot. They can, you know, in like lower levels of skill, they can probably win quite a lot of fights, and that would be a big ego boost for them, and then make them think that they can just go around and fighting anyone, potentially. But that's my thoughts on the matter anyway. So let me know what you think, or like one viewer of this video. Yeah, so that's it for this week. Of course, I won't have anything coaching wise to say next week, so whether or not I do one of these or not, or whether I try and find something else to do instead. Obviously, you know, filming, I've said it's kind of, I don't know whether it's an excuse or not, whether I could technically find ways to make the time, or whether I am generally just like caught up in too much other stuff. But you know, filming opportunities do seem scarce, so I find it hard to make my main content. I've just got like these, because these are quite simple to do at the end of the day. But yeah, we'll see what happens next week. I'll probably try and make something a bit more interesting. So I'll see you next time.